Professional crazy person Grace Randolph is having a complete and utter meltdown as regards to the lineup of the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie. It's pretty funny, actually. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. So there seems to have been an announcement about what the Avengers lineup is going to be for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie. Although I'm pretty sure, and I don't think you need to have a brain cell to have this thought, but we are dealing with Grace Randolph here, so brain cells, I believe, are discretionary, that not everybody has been revealed, because this movie is just going to be a bouquet of cameos anyway, that I'm sure there are plenty of people that aren't mentioned that are going to turn up. However, I haven't seen Grace this flustered since she saw John Cena's package in the Suicide Squad, one of the few times that she's been lost for words. But let's just see what Grace has to say about these matters.
So at first I was like, are we just going to talk about the fact that Loki is on the Avengers and there's like no women in this freaking movie?
Well, first of all, Loki, Tom Hiddleston, is in the movie. Very popular character with men and women in the MCU, by the way. And if you want to put female bums on seats at the cinema, Tom Hiddleston is a smart choice. Now, the last time we saw Loki, he was literally holding the threads of the multiverse together. But knowing that this has got something to do with the multiverse, then it makes sense that he would be in it to some degree. What degree? Who knows? But as regards to the lack of women, then maybe you should have a look at the recent box office performances of movies that have either been headed up by women or have just simply been a conglomerate of women. And I talk about things like the Black Widow movie, I talk about the Eternals, I talk about Thunderbolts, stuff like that, which failed miserably at the cinema. The biggest, of course, being The Marvels, headed up by 3 separate women, and it was the biggest box office failure that Marvel have had. So my question, Grace, is why aren't women turning up to support women? Oh, wait, I actually have an answer for you. Because no rational woman just decides to go to the cinema because a woman's in a fucking movie, you dipshit. They have to have some vested interest or desire to go see them. I know your closeted little world is just based around gender and gay politics and shit like that. But in the real world, where real people exist, where they make a lot of sacrifices in terms of their jobs and how much money they make, they have to be very prudent about where their money goes. And just because there's 5 MCU women in a movie doesn't mean that they should go see the bloody movie. Now, they turned up for Barbie because Barbie was legitimately a movie made for women. Made for women that went through the Barbie experience as kids and had plenty to sort of regurgitate in their life. Whereas superhero movies are predominantly male orientated, and they always will be. But you knew that already, and you're just playing dumb, because that's what you fucking weirdos like to do. You know the answers to the questions that you're posing, but you pretend to act ignorant of it. And the worst situation is, it's the people at the studio that are listening to weirdos like you and adapting their shows and their movies based on your feedback than that of the fans, because the fans have all been toxified. We're all toxic. You know, all the people that have been following this stuff for decades upon decades upon decades. No, they're the sexists now, and the racists now, and the bigots now, and all of that, even though they're the ones that have kept these heroes alive for all that time through their support. And then tourists like you come into it, and you suddenly want to run the show about your gender politicking or identi-politicking. Don't work like that way, Grace. Don't work that way at all.
Sure, I've seen a number of you say it before we even got started. I've seen people say it on social media. This isn't necessarily the entire cast. This is 27 people and the Russo brothers. Maybe, that's a big boop. Boop. Boop, boopity, boop, boop, boop. All right. And there might be some surprises, like just because somebody's not here doesn't mean they're not going to show up in the movie. And I think that's true. I know of at least one surprise who's coming that I heard about, and I would just get in so much trouble if I told you, so I can't say anything.
Right, so why aren't these people in the movie? Why is there only this sort of ratio to men and women in the movie? Oh, by the way, I'm going to answer myself moments later, and I'm also going to reveal that I know of a secret. Therefore, I know that there are most likely multiple other cameos to be made throughout this movie, but I'm just going to play dumb because it's time for me to play politicking stupid cow. But this next subtopic that she wants to get into is MCU versus MSHIU, which Gary coined, by the way, and something that Grace started to use herself because she agreed that the MCU was getting more into MSHIU. She got there late to the party, but better late than never.
All right. So, MCU versus MSHIU. Now, even I was starting to feel it was a little MSHIU-y last year or so, right?
Even I could see it. Even I knew that that was the case. Even I knew that they were forsaking the actual true audience of these films because they were pushing gender politics. Even I can see that, but I'm going to kind of justify it in a way anyway.
Like I was like, maybe, it sounds horrible, but it was kind of getting crazy. I think Disney overall has had a little bit of an issue with that. And also, of course, as we've seen on Movie Math, no matter how many women you cram into these movies, for the most part, they don't go.
It doesn't matter how many women you cram into a movie. It doesn't even matter how many men you cram into a movie. What those men and women have to bring to the movie is something that the audiences want to see. People want to see your Tom Hiddlestons. They want to see your Chris Hemsworths and your RDJs. What they don't give a shit about is your Chang-Chi's and your Black Falcon America Captain Man and the other useless, all new, all different Marvel crap, which they've been trying to ram into the MCU since Phase 4 and Phase 5. So you got to bring something to the table. It doesn't matter what your gender is. So just ramming women in for the sake of ramming women doesn't mean that your movie's going to do shit. Just the same as if you ram men in for the sake of ramming in men doesn't mean that it's going to do shit either. They have to be worth it. They have to be what the audience and who the audience want to see. And this lineup of Avengers is fucking pathetic. It's sad and pathetic, and I would say 80 to 90% full of people that nobody could give a shit about, male or female.
Although I have to say, Avengers, I don't think really had that problem because women really liked Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I don't know if you remember the story I told, but I went to see Civil War at a press screening, and they had fans who could come in. And there was a fan in front of me, an older woman, who really obviously was a huge Black Widow fan. This woman jumped out of her seat and was punching the air when Black Widow had her fight sequence, and I was like, damn, Scarlett Johansson's bringing the audience in.
I've never heard something so fucking stupid in all my life. There's a press screening where they brought some fans in. They were most likely a select number of fans, if you catch my drift. And wow, they are praising everything that's going on. What the hell did you expect? Never mind the fact that you're basing your cross-section on, wow, Scarlett Johansson's bringing all the women in because I'm using a cross-section of, checks notes, one fucking woman. Oh, God, it's so tiresome dealing with this low IQ fucking shit.
Credit for the heavy lifting that she did at the beginning of the MCU. Really important.
She didn't do any heavy lifting, but never mind.
I don't know if Agatha's good. I don't know if Agatha and Wiccan are,
Do you know who did the heavy lifting in the early stages of the MCU? I'll tell you, Robert Downey Bloody Jr. He's the one that did the heavy lifting. Chris Evans coming in as Captain America. Chris Hemsworth coming in as a Thor to try and establish something that could be built upon. Scarlett Johansson came in Iron Man 2. Was she cool? Yeah, she was cool. Was she doing all the heavy lifting? No, she wasn't doing all the heavy lifting. She was a sexy femme fatale that brought sex appeal to the current male-orientated MCU. And guys like it. Because guys, surprise, surprise, like ScarJo. What a shocker, hey? So it's not heavy lifting by coming in and looking attractive and doing your role. No. The heavy lifting is taking somebody like RDJ and taking a character like Iron Man, which was kind of second tier at that time in Marvel, and elevating him to S tier. That's called heavy lifting. Now, she waffles on about why isn't She-Hulk there and all that kind of stuff. Never mind the fact that the She-Hulk show was an absolute disaster. She also then goes on to say about how Tatiana Maslany isn't in Disney's good graces because she's said a lot of nasty things about them recently and even said that I'm never going to work for Disney again. So maybe that's a good reason why she wasn't selected for this film. So once more, Grace poses a why isn't this woman in and then immediately answers her own fucking question afterwards. I can only take so much of Grace Randolph, but I want to end the video with this little snippet where Grace decides to tell you why Batman is so popular.
X-Men and Batman are extremely popular because they have great female characters.
Yeah, the X-Men and Batman are extremely popular because they have great female characters. Now, the X-Men is an eclectic group. It has great male characters and it has great female characters. Batman is extremely popular because of the women in Batman. Shut up, you stupid fucking tart. Batman is popular because of Batman. Batman isn't popular because of Catwoman. That's an added character. He isn't popular because of Poison Ivy or Harley Quinn. They're all orbiters in the field of Batman and not vice versa. So again, when these tourists come into these, oh, I'm such a big comic book fan. Fuck off, all you bullshit. And they try and tell you what other characters or what other superheroes are famous for when it's just not the case. And it's these type of influencers that the studios have been listening to for so long. Is it any wonder why our franchises are so much in a bloody toilet? Because they've got a politic all the time. Anyway, I think that Avengers Doomsday is going to be pretty much a disaster. I'm not looking forward to the movie at all. I'm not going to pretend to look forward to the movie. It's got some characters in it that I'd be interested in, but the MCU to me is dead. It's over. I don't care about it anymore. You've killed any interest in it for me. I only have apathy. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, if I wasn't going to be discussing them on Real BBC, FNT, Afternoon Tea, whatever, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't waste my money on this shit. And the fact that this movie's lining up to be one of the most expensive movies ever made, it's got a cat in hell's chance of making its money back at the box office, even if it does about 1.4 billion. But hey, it's not my problem. I literally don't care. But the problem is that people who don't care have been infesting these franchises for so long that they've driven the people who did once care right out of the door. I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Goodbye, Baloo Boo.